You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Glass House After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Glass House After Show.
Hello and welcome to AfterBuzz TV. Bingers for doing, and we're doing another episode of ABC's reality, The Glass House, Week 8. I am Bamm Ericsen with...
I am Derrial, Christon.
I am Thaddeus, Massey.
So thank you guys for watching. If you are listening, you guys could call and give us your feedback at 424-256-1729, or you guys can tweet us at AfterBuzz TV. Right? Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
So I wanted to say, like, you know, AfterBuzzTV.com, and I froze for a minute. All right. So let's dive right into it. We got a lot of good topics that we want to talk about. And the first being who went home. So it was between Joy and Andrea. Yes. And so, wait, my mouth is dry.
Drum roll.
And so it's not a shocker.
No.
Joy went home.
Joy went home.
No.
I mean, we knew it. We said it. We predicted it last week.
You heard the long, the organ intro? I was like,
yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's called a riff.
No, we did. We knew Joy was going to go home.
Thank you, Maestro.
You guys are still on the musical tip. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, we knew Joy was going to go home. I mean, we said it last week, or at least I strongly predicted that she was
We strongly predicted. You thought that Erica was, I'm sorry, you thought that Andrea was going home.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Joy would stay.
Why?
More drama.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is true.
I mean, you know, you want...
She was in the middle of it.
Yeah, she was always in the middle of it. Plus, it gives the game a little more dynamic.
That's true.
Because now that there's less people, there's more personal crosses over into the game strategy because people are making emotional decisions, or the emotional decisions... the emotional decisions affect the strategic decisions people are making in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that element always helps entertainment-wise.
Well,
the viewers didn't.
Viewers didn't agree.
The viewers did not agree.
Like, Joy, go home.
I mean, I think it's basically what we were saying. You know, you and I were saying, Bam, at least, that she was giving a little bit too much drama on the show. Even though we do like drama, but I think that viewers were starting to get tired of her because she seemed to be in the center of a lot of the arguments.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, when it's coming down to these final players, I think that they're really starting to select people that they truly like, or obviously, or they don't like. And then the ones they don't really like, they're not even given a second chance.
You're right.
And what was really interesting at this, for this particular episode is they kind of backtracked a little bit and they went over the voting process.
Right.
And so what was revealed was that Jeffrey, of course, had voted for Andrea. And so what happened was Jeffrey went to Jean that we saw. We didn't see this last Monday, but we saw it at the beginning of the episode. Jeffrey goes to Jean and says, listen, you're safe.
Yeah.
I'm not voting for you. I'm going to vote for Andrea. Mm-hmm. So once that conversation ended, then Jean goes over to Kevin, and
the other side, and says, I'm going into limbo. Jeffrey just told me that basically they're putting me in. And Kevin's like, no, for real.
Yeah.
And it was Kevin and Stephanie, actually.
Yeah.
And so come to find out, that's, of course, a lie. And so my question is, when Kevin went to confront Jean saying, what was the purpose in you lying? Then Jean lies and says, that's not true.
Right.
And so I don't understand. So the big question is, was there a point in Jeffrey going to the other side to tell that lie? Because most of the time...
You mean Jean?
Yeah, Jean. What was the point?
I didn't get that point either, honestly, because Kevin just kept saying, oh, he just wants to start drama. You know, he he just wants to basically start drama and he's lying. I didn't really understand why Gene chose that as his move to say to Kevin, because it makes him seem like a liar and that he is starting trash pretty much. So I agree with Kevin on that. I really didn't understand why Gene used that as his tool to go back to Kevin and say something like that.
What do you think about that, Mr. Thaddeus?
I think it was just an ode to Joy. Joy's gone now, so he has to do something in remembrance of her. There's not any drama in the house. There has to be some drama in the house. So I mean, he's probably just trying to mix it up a little bit. It's gonna get real boring. Like, you have the same people, it's gonna get boring. So I think he just wanted to, it's like, why? Why do I need to tell you? Do I need to tell you? Does it matter? Like,
yeah, but then does he not think that Kevin's not going to go back and ask Jeffrey the question and then the truth is going to be revealed, which it was?
So Kevin, go ahead.
Sorry, maybe he was doing it to maybe weed out who was telling who what.
I don't
see, he might have gone and done that just to try to weed out. Okay, let's try to figure out and see where people's loyalties really lie at this point in the stage in the game.
But everyone knew who was voting for who except for Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, yeah.
And Jeffrey normally doesn't keep it a secret who he votes for. So he was going to at some point confess and tell who he voted for anyway.
Right.
So it was a no-brainer. So for me, I don't see why Gene lied. But as I said last week, I think he's a bum and he's just corny.
I was just trying to give him a bone and see. I'm trying to think of something, but maybe why that makes sense.
Right.
This furthermore proves my point that he's not truthful. Anytime you confront him, he always uses a cool, calm, proper voice, and he speaks like this. And my integrity will never be. And dude, you've been caught lying several times. Go home. Yeah, that's just how I feel.
I'm with you on that. Actually, I mean, I said it from the beginning when we first started, watching the episodes and talking about it at the beginning of, the beginning of the season. You got Gene. I never really got him anyway. So, and now he's really starting to show his true colors.
And he's starting to show true colors. And we'll also talk in regards to how the fans are feeling about him just a little bit later. But speaking again of Gene, so then Erica. There was a meeting. Well, there was a meeting that they had, but before that, they had to. They were given a choice of for the next 24 hours they had to speak in a specific accent, and it was either Italian or if it was British. And so the viewers voted for British. I actually remember that when I voted for the British as well. And so Jeffrey's accent was horrible, but as they're sitting around, as they're sitting around talking, Erica decides to call out Jeffrey and Gene for always playing the middle,
both sides,
for playing both sides.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gene again sits there quietly, like this.
All right.
The whole time he says nothing, and then of course the conversation was more so with Jeffrey and Erica, and Jeffrey of course denied it, which again. That's also false because you remember when Jeffrey went over to Andrea, to Kevin, and to Mike and played both sides and was trying to pretend to be on their side. So I don't understand at this point in time, the audience is going to remember things that you do. So anytime that you're lying or being disloyal, the fans are going to remember that and they could potentially vote you out. So I don't understand why Jeffrey made a big deal about it. And then after the conversation erupted, he told her to shut the F up. And then
she walked away crying.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think there has to be a point where you're just allowed to play the game. It's a game. You can't expect to be truthful about everything and that completely reflect your character.
That's a good point.
The whole point of the game is somewhat deception and, to be a little cunning and manipulative and make people think one thing when you're doing this over there. I mean, it's a game at the end of the day. Yeah. So there has to be some leeway where they're allowed to play the game. And talking about speaking both sides, we actually want you to play both sides. Instead of going just to Amazon.com, we want you to go to AfterBuzzTV.com and click the Amazon button at the top of the screen. It gives us a kickback, no extra charge to you guys, and allows us to keep doing these after shows for you guys. Again, AfterBuzzTV.com, click the Amazon button at the top of the screen, and then do your shopping.
Applause.
But yeah, back to playing both sides.
That was so terrific and personal.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so back to playing both sides. I just think that that's their strategy of playing the game. And I think Jeffrey and Gene are both doing the same thing. I just think that Jeffrey's better at it.
Right. And again, I'm being I'm being a hypocrite because if it was Kevin that was playing both sides, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But because I don't particularly care for Gene and Jeffrey, just okay, I'm basically being a butthead.
Yeah. And theoretically, to their defense, they may not remember every lie that they've told week by week. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're playing the game. They're trying to, there are certain things that they're remembering, but I bet you that 3 weeks ago, they probably can't remember everything that they actually physically said. So
yeah, that is true, being in that Borno house.
Yeah.
I mean, all they do is drink and talk and have a conversation. I would be bored out of my mind. I mean, I got to play some cards or something. I don't know. Like,
I got to wear a Joy sweatshirt.
Yeah. Yeah, he had time to make that, but we'll talk about that.
No, actually, we can
talk about that
We can talk about Joey and Gene. I'm gonna let you take that away, Mr. Derrial.
Well, let's see where to start with that one. Well, we knew that Joy was obviously in limbo, and she was about to be let go off the show. And Gene comes out with his T-shirt that says "I love Joy" on it, and we got a big kick out of that because clearly he still has a lot of emotions for this girl. And now he cried on the show. Was that when he cried? That was the first time, right?
Yeah, he cried when she went home.
When she went home, right. Mm-hmm. So he basically, once again expressed how much he cared for the girl, and it must have gotten the best emotionally out of him because he shed some tears.
Well, I mean, I would too if I were him. I mean, the next time he sees her, it's not going to be in the glass house. It's going to be in the real world. So things are going to be different. Mm-hmm. And the tone is obviously going to change, and who knows what's going to happen. So I'm sure he's grieving a little bit right now over that situation.
Yeah.
His bestie is gone.
Oh, and he also mentioned that one thing that he regretted was not giving her a kiss before she left.
Wah, wah.
I'm sorry, like I'm sleeping with my eyes closed because Joy and Gene they put me to sleep. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Wow.
Wow, you don't like Gene.
From showmance to no man's.
They just, oh God, and he's crying and then he puts the shirt and,
Yeah, well.
He's acting.
Yeah. But I wasn't completely asleep, but I do agree with you in the sense that when they get into the real world, brother, if you didn't get your kiss in, it's too late.
You think it's over?
Listen, you already saw the T-shirt that she had about when she was when she was in the elimination round. She had a T-shirt that said something about how she was auditioning for people who want to be her girlfriend or something.
So, yeah, something like that.
So, she's about to become Hollywood. Gene, sorry, you should have got your kiss and made the best of it because she's gone.
Well, we probably should actually technically talk about. So she at the beginning was voted off, and then she came back because how they played the game tonight was they were allowing 2 people to come back in the house who were voted off. So the 2 people that were able to come back were Joy and Mike.
Yes.
So that's actually where it took place about the T-shirt portion and him shedding the tear. So basically, after they were able to come back in the house, the players were able to either cast themselves off or to let someone else back in the house. So there was glass rocks set up and glass with rocks on top of them. So if the player smashed the rock, they were able to allow one of the 2 players to come back in the house.
But also let's mention that on the monitor there was amounts of money.
Right.
So you would only break the glass if you were willing to take the money and go home and leave the competition.
Right.
So all of these amounts of money was going up. And Gene from the jump was like, if it's not 6 figures, I'm not doing it. So he actually leaves and he doesn't even have anything to do with the game. Then what he does is he goes back and he brings out a little corny old Joy, I Love Joy T-shirt. And then he gets a big old a blanket, and then he sits in front of the elimination glass and he's talking to her and, I regret kissing. Joy, I really regret not kissing you before I leave. And so he's playing kissy face through the glass, while it was more so Stephanie and Jeffrey who is kind of debating because Jeffrey Jeffrey even said $22,000.
That's the most money
it's the most he's ever made, and he had, that's almost what he makes a year out in New York. So it was really between those two. No one else really were really thinking about it, but at least they stayed.
Right.
And so what happened was, once the amount came to $37,600, then Stephanie breaks the glass, and so now Joy and Mike have the opportunity to come back into the house, and it's based on votes.
Right.
And guess who came back? It was Mike.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, which was not a shocker, because if you go online and you see some of the updates, his picture was brought back. So I knew a couple days ago that Mike was back in the house, and plus there was some things on the blogs and stuff. So the thing with social media is you just can't. Nothing is a secret.
Keep anything a secret.
It's a spoiler, but I would have just thought from just generally speaking that Mike would have gone home before Joy. Still,
I wouldn't have. I would
really?
have thought, I would have thought, because again, she recently just went home, and I think with how much drama she's caused. Well, actually, Mike
caused a lot of drama too.
Mike caused drama too, but the thing also with Joy, it was different. And then also with her being a girl and her being pretty, maybe some women maybe just despised her a little bit more than they would Mike. That's just what I think.
Well, he went home first, right?
Yeah, he went home first. He went home 2 weeks ago.
Right, and I think that after the drama continued, I think maybe that shed a different light on her, because then now you don't have a fall guy who's like the bad guy who's instigating the stuff to go to, like the bully who you can say, oh, it's Mike. Mike's always instigating, blah, 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 blah. Now Mike is gone. What's your excuse? You don't have an excuse. You're still starting drama. Right,
and then and then also with Gene's popularity dying down, there was really maybe no hope in having Joy there, because it appears that people does not want Gene to be there as well. But the big question is, would you have taken the money? So I believe 37,600. Yeah, 37,600. That was the highest amount, and sometimes the amount will go up and then it will go down.
Right.
And so Stephanie said, "I've been in the bottom the last 2 weeks. What is the likeliness that I will actually win the game?" And she even said, while some of the other contestants were kind of like, throwing shade to her, she was like, "You have to remember, there's 5 of you that's in this house. The money that I'm getting, you guys are not going to walk out with a dime."
Right.
And so she made a valid point. So
that is a valid point.
So would you guys have taken the amount of money and quit the game, or would you have wrote it out? Derrial,
I would have waited till it got higher. I wouldn't have thought about it until it got at least to be 50,000.
Okay, well, there were how many people left at that point? There
was
like
six
people, right? And then the grand prize is how much?
250,000.
Okay, 250,000. Okay, so you divide that 250,000 by 6. And you went to
UCLA. You're smart.
Okay, so
40-something
you're about 40-some thousand. And if you just took that whole grand prize and you divided it amongst everybody and say, let's stop playing the game right now. So you really have to think about, logically or mathematically, that's pretty close to an amount that if they just stopped playing the game and they divided up the grand prize, that everybody would get.
Yeah.
Also, most of those people, like you just said, Bamm, are not going to get any money.
Yeah,
they're not going to get anything. It also depends on what their motivation is. Some people are on there probably just to have fun, or to find a lover or a significant other or something like that.
Boo thing.
Right. Some of them are probably there to get famous, and other ones are there to actually win the money. And Stephanie was there like, oh,
I'm trying to do this.
I'm trying to get some money.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. I'm out. You guys have fun.
Yeah.
I think she made a wise choice for her.
For her, I agree.
For her. She made a wise choice.
Well, for me, I'm a good competitor, so I would think that I'm going to win the game. So there's a point in me that's like, I'm going to go to it and I'm going to win some money. So there's a part of me who would have not taken the money because I'm pretty competitive and I'm pretty good at games.
Right.
So I knew if that was me, I would have been like in the top 2. So that's just how
I feel you. I feel you.
You come on, you a football player. You absolutely. I'm sure you have the same mindset that you think that when you're on that line, you're the best thing out there, and you can't be stopped. So that's just how I think. And so I would have had to have a lot more money for me to go out, because I would go in thinking that I could actually win the game. She didn't think she could.
I'm with you. I would have felt that way, but I think that for Stephanie, it was a smart move because of the fact just how the voting has been going for her and how America feels about her, or has been feeling about her. you know, I don't know if she would have shown us that much more in the next couple of weeks, which would allowed her to take the position to the top. So it probably was for her a very smart move. If it was Kevin, I would have said you'd be retarded for taking the money versus staying in the game because you have a chance of winning. But for her, I think it was a smart move.
Remember, she's a scientist, so she probably did all the math.
Right.
She probably figured out the course. She was
yeah.
like, okay, I've got this many votes, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. She just figured it out and broke it down. She was like, this is a great move for me right now.
Yeah.
And she's still going to come out top more than
5 other players.
Exactly.
And so with that being said, so now Mike was voted back in. And so now Kevin's alliance is now stronger because you have Kevin, you have Andrea. And you have Mike.
Yeah.
And now all you have is you have Gene, Jeffrey, and you have Erica. And Gene and Jeffrey are straddling the fence, so you don't know whose side they on. And then Erica is, I don't know, she's Team Kevin.
She's
Team Kevin. I mean, we as we can see with her love affair with him, she's more likely to vote whatever is going to be in favor for his team, I think. You know,
which was also interesting because they had a lot of interaction this particular week, and then you had Jeffrey and Stephanie before, of course, she left. You know, they were having conversations about her, and they were basically just saying, you know, she's really kooky, she's really naive because Kevin has put it out there that I don't like you like that.
Yeah.
And plus, she hasn't even been able to get any. So I mean, at least Gene was able to, you know, get some smooches under the cover. Like,
that's true.
What has Erica gotten from Kevin besides the first night when, you know, they had their little tete, and that was because Kevin said he was drunk.
Yeah.
But she hasn't really gotten anything else. And so do you think that she's letting, and I don't mean to be mean when I say this, but this is only because Erica said this. She says that she wants to win the prize of money, and she wants Kevin's penis. So
she did say that.
So she did say that. So with that being said, do you think she's blinded by the potential penis that she wants, that she's not seeing the bigger picture?
Yes. Initially I was in the hopes that she was just playing a smart game and playing naive and playing that she was so caught up in Kevin and then was going to use that to her advantage. But the way I see her now, she's so caught up in Kevin, and like you said, he hasn't even given her any officially. And he's
he said officially like
so,
cognizant penis.
And I don't see it happening anytime soon. So I think it's going to nip her in the bud. You know, I think America is going to get tired of her being this love puppy chasing after Kevin kind of thing. I'm starting to get sick of it, to be honest with you. I'm like, okay, I get it already. You're in love with dude. Okay, move on. Play the game.
It used to get on my nerves, but now I kind of like it because for me, it seems as though she's the most genuine person in the house right now, and genuine in the respect that this girl is just going with the flow. Her everything that she does, every move she makes is based on Kevin, and I really don't think that she feels, even though she's playing the game and going on, I think she's there to have a good time, and I don't really think she feels she's going to win. What's the likelihood she's going to win? Right. I think she has that attitude. That's her disposition. Like, she's there going day to day, week to week, and that's why everything is always genuine with her, and she votes based on what's happening at that moment because she doesn't really think she's going to win. Like, what's the likelihood she's going to win? The closest, most tangible thing that she's actually experienced has been with Kevin. And who knows what's going on back home? There might not be any prospects back home. So the fact that she has a guy that's a police sergeant and he's a good, handsome jock, whatever, all-American guy that actually showed some sort of interest in her mind, we don't see what's going on behind closed doors. We don't see everything. Just like, what week was that? That was like 2 weeks ago when he was like, Erica, we're right here. Don't pay attention to them. We're right. When Joy was fronting Mike about that, he was like, we're right. You and I talked. You and I talked. He was keeping her locked in, like in the zone. So he might have her. There might be some hope that this girl has that after all this blows over, she's like, oh, Kevin's just playing a game. He's just blah, 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 blah. Right. And you don't know what's going on in her head.
And we'll also discuss later that Erica and Kevin did have a conversation about who to vote for, which we were a little somewhat shocked in regards to how Kevin voted. So, I mean, she may can slowly pull him in and, you know, you don't think so?
No. I think that Kevin is the smart one, and he's playing the game. And I hear you, Thaddeus, but I think that in the end, he's utilizing all his skills and her being this little love puppy after him. I think he's using all of that stuff to play a certain role, and then in the end, his goal is to win that money. And if he's going to win that money with or without her.
Speaking of goals and using, and so speaking of goals, we need you guys to go to iTunes, rate, and comments. That is our goal, is to get all of you guys out there watching and listening to please go to iTunes, please rate us and comment. Yesterday we were in the top 10. Yes,
we like that.
So thank you again for going to iTunes and voting, and not voting but rating and sharing your comments, positive, negative, just however you feel. Please go and do that, as well as there's a new cool app called the Podcast, and what that does is all of the subscriptions that you have for all the various AfterBuzz shows. Go ahead, hit it. What shouldn't your show?
I'm sorry, I was looking at something. What did you ask me?
I need you to pay attention, my brother.
I was letting you do your thing.
Falling Skies.
Oh, Falling Skies, yes.
So with podcasts, it organizes all your subscriptions. So like you have Falling Skies, I have Empire Girls, I have LA Complex, I have Scandal. There's plenty great shows, and what it does, all the shows that you guys download when you go to iTunes to rate and comment, what it does is it organizes your subscription. So again, go to iTunes, download, rate, and comment, and go to podcast and get the new app.
Yeah.
Bam.
Okay, so now let's go into the actual game itself. I thought the game was really, really cool. And so, Derrial, you want to go and explain that?
Yes. So the game was set up with the 3 yellow players, the 3 red players. Obviously, we had for the yellow team, we had Gene, Erica, and Mike. And then we had for the red team, Jeffrey, Kevin, and Andrea. And how the game was played is that each player had their own little section where they had something called an emoticon, which was almost like a little dummy. A little dummy.
The marionette. That's the marionette.
The marionette, yes. So each player had the option to direct their emoticon to grab these little circular pieces and pull them into either a team glass or a money glass, and each little face was worth $500. So the goal was to have each team have the most amount of smiley faces towards the end, and they would win the challenge. Now you had, as a player, an option to actually take some of these and put them into your own personal money stash. So I mean, theoretically, you could be messing up your team.
Right.
You did it on the down low, pretty much.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be revealed who did what, who put the money into their individual funds. So it wouldn't be revealed who did what.
All the team members were separated, so they couldn't see what the other ones were doing on their team.
Right.
Which was I think an awesome dynamic for a game, a challenge to have a team play, but it be individualized and kind of discreet, so to speak, like voting.
Right.
I thought it was really fun to watch that, because people got to show some colors and where they really are.
So then,
but before they started the game, they actually each player got a nickname. So for the red team, which was, as I mentioned, Jeffrey, Kevin, and Andrea. Kevin was the cool guy. He was labeled as the cool guy. Jeffrey was labeled as the crybaby, surprise. And Andrea was labeled as happy. For the yellow team, Jean was boring. Erica was... What was her?
She was Goo Eyes.
She was love struck.
She was love crazy.
She was love crazy.
And Mike was grumpy. Can we go back to that Jean? What was Jean again?
Boring.
Jean was boring.
So again, it's not just me being a negative Nicholas, but Jean is boring.
Right, but so now for the 2 games, for the red team, the only one who actually took money and put it into his...
I was gonna say, can we just go to can we go to Jeffrey's team first?
Sure.
Okay, so with that being said, what was really interesting is Jeffrey said that he picked Kevin and Andrea because they were the 2 best looking people on the team, and plus he knew that they would both go 100%. What I found really interesting is Jeffrey said, I'm not going a full 100% out. Jeffrey never goes 100% out on the challenges. Right. He is the laziest dude. Even when the challenge, you remember when he was laying down and the challenge when he was a couple weeks ago, he never gives 100%, and no one ever wants to call him out on that. But of course, with this one, you could see. And then so what Jeffrey did was Jeffrey actually he collected himself.
His money.
He collected $2,000.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell anyone. So that's. So basically, he let Kevin and Andrea do all the hard work while he collected money.
Right.
I think Jeffrey has realized that his strength is in between the challenges, like the manipulation and the analytical strategy of how to play the game and play people. So I think, and he gets away with being the non-athletic big guy. So when he doesn't really produce during the challenges,
they kind of expect that he doesn't because
they're used to it.
He plays on it.
Yeah.
I think he plays on it more than he really gives the effort.
He plays on his. Do we want to call him wimpy?
I just say unathletic. I think he plays on this unathletic type.
I'll say that
nature.
Yeah.
As opposed to really putting more than I really think he's capable of.
Yeah.
And then so with Gene, Mr. Boring, and Mike and Erica, now
Mike ended up being the person who collected money. He collected $4,000.
He collected $4,500.
He got the big money.
And so Mike said that when he would drop one in the team, he would drop one
for himself.
But it's ironic that 3 was only able to go into the team cup versus in the solo one. That's basically 9
like
times.
10.
Right.
Yeah, he made like 5,000, right?
He made 4,500. So he got in 9. He got in 9 chips into his, and he only got in 3.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really smart on Gene's part is Gene actually counted how many he had inside of his team glass.
Yeah.
And so he was able to figure out if Gene's team had 23 and Jeffrey's team had 30 total the little points or whatever you want to call it. So Gene counted. So Gene was able to figure out, okay, well, if he did a certain amount, then he could figure out what the other 2 did just based off of how much he did. So he immediately knew that something was up. And so if Mike would have put the little money things into the team, that's a 9. So they would have won.
Yeah.
They would have won. It'd have been 33-30.
Right. And I think actually this is the best game that Gene has played as far as like his being really good at this game. I mean, he was doing his thing.
Right. But then also if Jeffrey would have put in his 4, if he would have put in his 4 chips, then that still would have kept them over. So basically, if they would all play fair, then Jeffrey's team would have still won.
Yeah.
But the question is, was Mike right? Was Mike and Jeffrey right for keeping money to the side for themselves?
I mean, personally, I think that I'm going to base it off of what Kevin said. Kevin said that when Mike and Kevin were having the conversation after the game, and Erica, the team members found out that Mike had, collected some money for himself,
which Mike just admitted straight up.
Which he admitted. Kevin said, no one should ever be throwing these challenges. This is kind of like the rule that we talked about at the beginning. So was Mike wrong? Kind of. I mean, if I was on his team, I would have been pissed off that he threw that challenge because they're jeopardizing me and my entire team. So I think he was wrong for throwing that challenge.
I'm kind of on the fence about it. I feel like Mike is gonna go home. He's been home once. They brought him back. He's gonna go home. I'm like, go ahead and get some money. You're going home anyway. That's how I kind of look at it. I mean, at the end of the day, Mike is going to go home. He's going to go home probably next week.
And also, it was smart in regards to Mike. At first, I thought Mike could not be put into limbo, but he voted. So
he voted, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought at first that's smart because he doesn't have to. He's not in danger. But that little part was confusing. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm 50-50. I mean, they put it out there that you have the option of doing this.
Right.
And so because it was not discussed prior to the game, you had to expect that somebody was going to do some money because the temptation was there.
Yeah.
So if they would have been able to work the game strategically, and put the little money things into the team, like if they would have been able to put more and just hustle a little bit more, you know, I don't see why they couldn't have a little money, because the reality is someone's going to win and everyone else is going to go home with nothing. Right. So that was Stephanie's whole idea. Well, let me take this 37,000 because when the winner is chosen, everyone goes home with nothing. Right now, the only 3 people that has money that has money is Kevin has money from another challenge. I think he has like $5,000 personally. So now Mike has $4,500 and now Jeffrey has $2,000. So at least if they don't win the game, they have some money to take home.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to weigh in, I think, for something like with Jeffrey and Mike. I mean, it's only $2,000 to $4,000. And your team, when they find out, your team is going to be looking at you that you could possibly be shady, which it kind of backfired for Mike, because they were pissed off at Mike for taking that money.
Well, did it backfire on him really? Because Mike is not going into limbo.
He's not going into limbo, but who knows what's going to happen next week? Mm-hmm. These are going to be things that they can remember, like, oh, Mike didn't try so hard, or Mike took that money and put his own personal stash away. Can we trust him these next following weeks? Mm-hmm. Where with Stephanie, it was different, because Stephanie just said, listen, I'll take that whole pot. I want it for myself. I won't be in the game anymore. It's all good. Versus what Mike did. Mike was collecting that money, but it affected everyone else. Versus Stephanie, it didn't affect anybody but Stephanie. So I think it's a different, that's the difference.
To me, I think being in limbo for Mike was a reality check. And I think he had time to think that, wow, I just I went home. I went home.
He was gone for a week.
And with what?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the reality check. I did all this strategy, had all this fun, and
I walked away with
nothing. So now you have an opportunity to come back. Now it's like, okay, now I have an opportunity to win some money, because when you go home, now you're thinking about the space that you were in before you even knew any of these people.
Right.
You're like, I want to go and win some money.
Right.
I have an opportunity to go get some national exposure and win, what, $500,000? So, I mean, when you come back, you have an opportunity to come back, your focus is going to be different. Your energy is going to be different. You're going to be like, I got to get some money. I got to get back to what the whole point of me coming here.
I mean, I can understand that.
Good. Yeah, I mean,
that's a good.
And at
breakdown.
this point, there's too few players in the game. Mm-hmm. At this point, there's too few players for there to like really be alliances to that level.
Yeah,
I think that everybody can probably trust one other person in the game. That's it. If it's winner. It's what's the term?
Winner takes all.
No, not winner takes all. It's every man for himself.
Every man for himself.
Yeah. That's where we're at right now.
And speaking for every man for himself, now let's discuss Jeffrey really quick. So at the end, what happened was Gene goes into limbo, and it was voted. The votes were basically between Mike and Erica, and so Erica was the one who got voted in, again based off of Jeffrey. Jeffrey had the last vote because Kevin voted for Mike. Right. Erica voted for Mike. Andrea voted for Erica. Mike voted for Andrea. And then, but what was really interesting was Erica. We mentioned this earlier. Erica decided to go speak with Kevin about Mike's shadiness. Mm-hmm. And so normally Mike and Kevin are homeboys, but ever since he's gone, the dynamics have changed. Mm-hmm. So although Kevin is not sexually attracted apparently to Erica, they do have a connection because he totally now decided to vote for Mike based off of what Mike did. But do you think that Erica had any kind of influence in that discussion that they had?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Because at this point, Kevin is holding true to what works for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wants to win the challenges.
And he did say that if he voted for Mike, then the audience, the viewers would feel that he's a hypocrite because his whole thing was that never throw a challenge. So, I mean, he stayed true to himself.
You mean if he voted for
had he voted for Mike, the viewers would have thought that he would have been hypocrite because Kevin has always said to play fair, never throw a challenge.
Right,
and because Mike basically threw a challenge, he stuck to his word. But then Erica had the conversation with him, and I mean, it could have swayed him one way, but probably not.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, possibly, because even with what you just said, Kevin is basing his things off of the way he looks with the viewers.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Erica really plays a factor in that. He's really more concerned about how the viewers are looking at him, you know, so they don't throw him in for something next week. So I don't think Erica plays a big part of that decision.
What do you think about Jeffrey? That he was so cold when when it was revealed that Erica was going into the limbo. Jeffrey leans over and says, "It was me."
Yeah, she was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, she was trying to figure it out, and he tapped her shoulder and he said, "It was me."
Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah.
Do you think that he was being a conniving? It was very dramatic, very catty. It was very like.
He just knew how she was going to respond.
Yeah.
He just knew how she was going to react. He just, he had to tell her, it was going to be figured out. If he didn't care about her at all and didn't like her, he wouldn't even said it. But he wouldn't have even said anything.
But Erica made a good point. They always have discussions prior to the voting. And they had the conversation last week when it was between Erica and Jeffrey. Erica said who she was voting for, and Jeffrey had to make the decision between Andrea and Jean. And so, like Erica said, as she was going into the little vault, you could have at least said something to me. Why did Jeffrey wait until after it was revealed that she's going into the limbo? That's what makes me think that Jeffrey had some type of ulterior motive, that he was being somewhat shady.
Well, he alluded to it. When he went to the bedroom, he alluded to it, and then he said, "How do you feel about going?" He said something to her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, no. She freaked out. Like, she had a spasm about it. Right. And he was like, okay. Like, okay, she's really not willing to play the game. I can toss myself in limbo, but she's not willing to do the same thing.
Right.
To me, that kind of shows that, okay, I can make myself the sacrificial lamb,
but
you won't do the same thing for the big picture, like for the game, like for the quote unquote alliance or the quote unquote team. Mm-hmm. So I think for her to be upset about it is like, really?
But why should she, just because he volunteered to throw himself in limbo, why should she?
I agree that she doesn't necessarily have to do it. But I actually side with her a little bit because I feel like he should have said something to her prior to. Mm-hmm. Because right before that, when they were in the room, it was Erica, Kevin, and Jeffrey together. She was like, "Oh, these are my two homeboys. This is my crew," and so she's expecting certain things from him. So, and I think that if she was going to put him in, she would have said something to him prior to.
And you know what they're expecting from us? To go to commercial break. So listen, hold that thought. We'll be right back. All right.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AfterBuzz TV. And why? Because AfterBuzz TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows, like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AfterBuzz TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AfterBuzz TV goodness. Check them out. Give them a holler. And tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
What up, Woolly Bear?
Woolly Bear.
All right, so earlier today, I was on ABC.com for the Glass House, and so they always have questions as well as what you can vote for. And so the question was, they're having movie night, and players must make a short film, and you have to match the players with a specific role. And so there was director, female star, male star, studio president, assistant/gopher, and the obsessed fan. And so what you have to do is you have to basically you vote for who you feels the particular category. So of course I voted, and so this is just what I did. So I voted Mike as a director, which is why I knew that Mike was coming back, because he was listed a part of this. And Joy wasn't. So I put Mike as the director. For the female star, I put Jean. For the male star, I put Erica. For the studio president, I put Kevin. And for the assistant gopher, I put Jeffrey. And for the obsessed fan, I put Andrea.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So
Not
that's
bad.
That's what I did. And then, of course, I did my voting. So, but I thought that was pretty interesting. They have the most weirdest
They do.
questions.
Every time I look on there, it's something crazy.
Yeah, those poor interns probably are working
night
and day trying to come up with these crazy answers.
But we still haven't gotten some of the nitty-gritty questions that we wanted to get on there, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, well, I guess we're not going to get them. We only have a couple more weeks.
Yeah. All right, so now for news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, the first thing is we have the ratings from last week. The Glass House went from 2.3 million impressions to 1.7, so it has decreased slightly. But the show is still running. Mm-hmm. We still have a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And I think actually that the episodes have gotten a lot better as far as now that it's down to the wire. People are really starting to stab each other in the back, so we get to see all that exciting stuff.
Right.
We also found out, Associated Press reported that CBS is going forward again with the Glass House lawsuit. Just when we thought it was over, CBS has said that they still want to evict the Glass House from the airwaves. The network moved ahead with the lawsuit against ABC this week by amending its filing that alleges ABC copied elements of Big Brother for its new reality TV competition, Glass House. CBS attorneys added that several more objections to the show are that Glass House employs the same plot, themes, mood, pace, characters, dialogue, and sequence of events and other concrete elements that Big Brother has. So they're basically saying that, you know, they're still saying that it's the same. CBS says the Glass House violates copyrights and trade secrets from Big Brother and alleges that dozens of former Big Brother staffers and producers now working with ABC on the Glass House may have violated the non-disclosure agreements.
That's what it is. I was going to say, there must be some people that switch teams.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I think that they would have some kind of viable suit.
But I think at this point, we're 3 more episodes in. Why do they even care?
Okay, this is what I think. Barbara Walters and Bill Getty, get your lawyers and sue the talk. Because it's the same.
It's the same thing.
It's the same show. They have 5 hosts. You replace 2 girls with 2 black comedians, just like Whoopi and Sherry Shepherd. They have hot topics. They have the table. They have demonstrations. It's the same thing. One's in LA, one's in New York. So Barbara Walters and Bill Getty, get your money. I just think that they just need to let it go. The ratings are, I mean, as much as we love the show, the ratings are not so well, and the likeliness that is going to come back next summer is, you know, I hate to say it, but with ratings at 1.7 on a major network like ABC, they're probably not going to have the show come back. So I think CBS needs to just go sit down and rinse off.
I agree.
Yes.
And maybe it has something to do more with the staff and the violation of the non-disclosure agreements. Maybe that now that we're getting more layers to the story, maybe that's actually why they're so upset. Because, like you said, the show's not doing that well. So why take that time to really refile this lawsuit?
But that happens all the time, where a person who's worked on the staff for Sony may work for Warner Brothers. I just think it's ridiculous, and that's just what I think. But you know.
Well, they want to ensure that it's not successful.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, on that note. But AfterBuzz is always successful, and we want to thank all of you guys for watching. So I'm Bamm Ericsen. You can follow me at.
You forgot predictions.
I forgot the predictions.
I was like, wait a minute. We didn't do predictions, man.
Yes, the predictions. sorry.
That was a trick. It was a trick.
That was a trick.
Yeah.
Not done yet.
Okay, so predictions. So Gene and Erica, who's going home?
Thaddeus, you go.
I'm really torn on this, because part of me really wants to see Erica win the whole thing to a certain degree.
Why?
Because I just really don't think she expects to win. I think she just, to me, she's like the underdog in her own right. Everybody else is kind of feeling themselves and like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. I'm playing the game. I don't really feel like Erica's in that space. I think she's going through the motions. You know, everything she's doing is for Kevin. When it comes to Gene going, if Gene stays, it'll be fun as far as the competition is concerned. At the same time, Gene leaving. Okay, so I'm stringing this out. Gene goes home. Erica comes back, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right.
Derrial, I have a feeling that we're gonna. I have a feeling it's gonna be unanimous. Go ahead.
All right. Well, Erica, I want to go home, but I think Gene is going to go home. I think Gene would make it more interesting if he does stay because they don't know how to. They don't really know where Gene's head's at. I mean, they have an idea, but Gene's playing so many different sides and he's playing a lot of mind games that I would love to see him stay on the show and continue to do the mind games and mess with Kevin and mess with, Mike and everyone else and Andrea. But I feel that America will send him home because of just how the votes have been and what they're saying about him.
Mm-hmm. How is he going to play the mind games of Kevin and Mike when they catch him in? Well, okay. I won't. But
you messing with my prediction, man.
I'm sorry. It's no shocker who I predict. Gene, go home.
Bye-bye.
So, speaking of going home, unfortunately, we have to go, but we had a great time here recapping episode 8 of The Glass House. I'm Bamm Ericsen. You can reach me on social media, Twitter, all the other good stuff at Bamm Ericsen, BAMMERICSEN.
Hey, I'm Derrial Christon. You can also reach me on Twitter under the same name, DERRIALCHRISTON, or on Facebook.
Thaddeus Massey, Club Thaddeus on Twitter, CLUB, Club, like going to the club, up in the club. Thaddeus, THADDEUS.
What? That was terrific.
I know what had to follow up after that.
I don't know how to follow up with that. The only thing I can follow up by saying is thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next Monday.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.